The European Union has reached a draft deal with Turkey to send back migrants who are deemed ineligible for asylum in Europe. It will be voted on at next European summit, with all 28 countries needing to agree. Elena Casas reports from Brussels.
The EU is taking a hard line. Migrants or refugees arriving illegally in Europe will be sent back. Turkey has offered to take back all refugees who enter Europe from Turkey in future, but only on a one-in, one-out basis. For every person Turkey accepts back from Greece, other EU countries must accept one Syrian from a refugee camp in Turkey.
This game-changing position, in fact, our objective is to discourage illegal migration, to prevent human smugglers, to help people who want to come to Europe through encouraging legal migration in a disciplined and regular manner.
Turkey also wants the EU to provide €3 million in extra funding to help the country cope with the refugee crisis, reopen talks on Turkey joining the EU and drop visa requirements for Turkish nationals. It also wants European help to create safe zones over the border in northern Syria. The repatriation deal would only apply to people who arrive in Greece after the deal has come into force, not those already in Europe now. Charity groups say there is already a humanitarian crisis in Greece, and sending people back to Turkey is not the answer.
Really, it is an example of the EU trying to push its problems over onto somebody else, and obviously the EU is willing to provide funding to Turkey to do so, but it's really not an acceptable deal, and in fact many humanitarian organisations believe it won't work anyhow, because many of these migrants and refugees are finding their way illegally to Europe, to the EU anyhow.
Some European countries say they won't accept any refugees from Turkey in exchange, meaning this deal could still hit the rocks at the EU summit next week. Human rights groups are warning that returning millions of people to Turkey, which isn't a full signatory to the Geneva Convention and doesn't offer refugee protections to anyone who isn't Syrian, could be illegal. But European leaders are desperately looking for a solution. Elena Casas, CCTV, Brussels.